Hi there everyone, it's me, Funky Boy, also known as the Funky Birthday Boy, playing on Dust Bowl with my fancy dancy huntsman. Pretty paranoid this entire game, because there's a lot of weird things going on. One, for instance, a heavy who runs in circles at snail's pace. There's also Demo Man flying from the sky, spies constantly decloaking, about 25 gibbet soldiers. This all sounds pretty weird, right? Until you remember it's a Valve server Dust Bowl, then it's not really that impressive. But that's not what you're here to talk about, or that's not what I'm here to talk about. I apologize for lying to you. You're not the one talking, you're listening to me, but feel free to talk back. But not in the bad way, just like in a comment. I'm going off track here. I'm turning 19 today. That's pretty neat. Depending on how old you are, 19 might either be a very significantly large number, or a very somewhat forgettable small one. I I am 19, so the number is just a number to me. 18 was a pretty big deal. I became an adult. I started focusing more on YouTube. I graduated high school. I did a lot of stuff that will live with me forever. But I know that I got a lot more to live through and remember. And I got a lot of growing up and maturing to do. And hopefully you'll be there with me as I go through it. Because my plan, at least for as far as the future of myself and even YouTube, is to be doing it as long as I can. Even if there comes a day where I have to focus really heavily into a main job in something else, I would still like to be doing this. If I ever take a break, I'm not one for just kind of dropping the ball and moving on. I'm really sentimental about stuff, so you probably won't see me disappear unless it's for a good reason. But yeah, this has also made me start thinking about other stuff that's been going on over the course of a year. For instance, you're seeing me play with my old HUD, which is, if you were around when I started, I used this HUD, or at least some sort of version of this HUD. I think the font is Doc 11 for the health and ammo. Not that any of you care. Maybe a couple of you UI nerds will feel me on saying this is a pretty cool font, but I like my newer one better. That's just kind of me rambling, though. The point is, this is a pretty old school stuff. I'm sentimental. I like remembering the past. That's why I'm playing on Dust Bowl. Dust Bowl is actually the first map I ever played in a commentary. I think it was way back on like a custom weapons video where I just played. I was like an engineer, so it's not really even matching that I use a huntsman. But what else has changed over the course of a year? Well, for one, the stress tests of that matchmaking things come out, which, by the way, first 2 days of the stress test, I was busy with scrims and matches for my ESEA team. Didn't get to play in virtually either of those for more than 10 minutes. Third stress test, which was March 4th. I got up. I had nothing to do today. Didn't have any scrims. I was going to be A-okay to play it. Well, get a call from my dad. Turns out they left. My dad, my mom, their uncle, my aunt. They all left our house to go to like Miami or wherever they're going. And I get a call from my dad, and he's like, hey, we need you to drive an hour and a half and get your uncle's wallet. He left it here. And I'm like, fine. Not like I'm missing anything, right? The first two stress tests were like 8 o'clock at night, so I got plenty of time in the world. I don't think I actually looked into the dates. I was evidently wrong, because those stress tests started the second I left the house in my car, and they ended the second I got home. Which is the most depressing thing in the world, because I'm not new to sixes. I know the sixes meta and how it's played, and I'm no god, but I know sixes. So it's not a huge deal that I missed the matchmaking stress test, because I still have an idea from like lobbies what it would be like. But of the few times I did play it, you know, there's no whitelist. I could play heavy with Gru gloves and get whipped to mids, and it was the funnest thing ever. But I'm not going to be making a whole video on matchmaking, mind you. I was just wanting to get footage for it so I could, like, have it for a video. Even if it's just a commentary. The thing is, there's like 300 videos people have made about, hey, matchmaking stress tests are out. Whoa! Every YouTuber in existence wants to talk about those, even though about 5 of them total have ever played sixes once in their life. That's not an insult, by the way. That's like a factual statement. A lot of them don't really know much about sixes, so their input is valid, but or not really informative. You get my point. That's kind of what's been going on with me, turning 19, and I'm hoping to be continuing the YouTubes and making the VODs, all that cool, crazy stuff. And I want to know what's going on with you. I want to know how long you've known me. I was thinking I'll probably do some fancy stuff for my 19th I'll probably do a stream on my twitch.tv/funk, not that you probably care at all. It'll probably be the exact same thing as this, only it's live and I'm even more worse talking because I don't get to cut out all the takes where I did terribly. Because, by the way, I have like 20 takes of this video alone where I get like 4 minutes in and I completely crash and burn because I don't know how to say a word, then I get off track. One of these times my dog started barking. Basically, I get off track very easily. That's one thing I'd like to improve over the next year. I'm not saying I have ADHD, but I've never been diagnosed, and I probably should have because I think it would have helped me in life a lot. There it is. It just happened. I blanked out for like 5 seconds. This is not good. Give me a topic. Give me a topic. TF2 HUDs. I talked about that already. Dang it. Dust Bowl. Welcome back to Dust Bowl. That's another thing. I've gotten pretty far on YouTube, haven't I? I started at about 2,000-ish subs back at my 18th birthday. Maybe I was around 5,000. But I'm nearing 130k as of the making of this video, at least. I'm probably going to do another FAQ around 150k because that's a pretty significant number, isn't it? I think it is, according to all my friends, all of my one friend that has ever reached that number. Anyways, yeah, that's a pretty neat milestone to look forward to. It's actually crazy to see how much the YouTube stuff has impacted me, because I've actually become much more out of my shell over the past year, just because I've had this experience of talking in front of a camera, and in competitive to my friends, over Mumble, over Skype, over all of these things. It's made me a better person. If some of you remember, 3 or 4 years back, any comments I left were probably cynical and mean and rude and I didn't think them through. That's what happens when you're 15 or 16 and you're making comments online without thinking. You don't want to do it and you want to forget you did it, but you still did it. So I'm going to be hoping to improve that over the years. But come with me over my long journey into becoming an adult. I'm not going anywhere anytime soon. So, I'll see you next time. Later.